There's no money in that, so you're so limited. You can't even get too creative with what you want to be. You have to pick the good careers, and sometimes even those only are good for a short amount of time.
Right.
Before that becomes outdated as well. So, you want to develop people, develop society as far as their capacity as well. And a lot of that would be basically changing the whole system.
Why can't it just be for the good of the people that work there?
Right.
And make either a very little profit just to kind of keep people above board.
Right. But then they would say that's communism or socialism.
It doesn't make any sense though.
It doesn't make sense. That's the point. It's totally arbitrary.
Yeah, because it's almost like the people, like you say, okay, like we're not making enough money. We've got to lay people off.
Yeah.
Right. And it's almost like they're laying people off so that one CEO can make $50 million a year and not have to cut back to $40 million. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what's happening.
Because you limit the quality of life, you limit the quality of the products that you give to people, the food, everything gets tainted because they want to profit off everything. And initially, corporations, would kind of have to get permission almost, and when they would work on a project, it would be specifically for that, and it was more modest. And then things started changing little by little, where people were running stuff and like, hey, I'll pay you off, let me make more money, make more profit, continue this project, and that's how things started progressing. And I think one of the people behind that was J.P. Morgan, and I'm sure it was more than that, but that's one of the people that stands out.
You're talking about the Federal Reserve Act?
As far as corporations, my understanding is that when initially a corporation would work on a project, they would kind of get permission and work on this project for a certain amount of time, and that would be it.
Yeah, once the project is finished, then the corporation didn't exist anymore.
And that started changing little by little, and now we're in the situation we're in. So like you mentioned, healthcare, the premise behind that was pre-existing care, right? I mean, preventative care, sorry. So, and then all these HMOs, they don't practice preventative care. They see people for 5 minutes, they give them drugs, and they're like, get the fuck out of here. There's preventative in that.
I was talking to a nurse friend of mine, and she says that, the healthcare companies will do anything they can to not pay off. That's their purpose, is to find a loophole where they don't have to pay for when someone's sick.
It's very true, and it's like...
And it shouldn't be that way. It doesn't make any...
Yeah, and even nutrition. If
healthcare should be absolutely free for everyone. The best quality healthcare we can get.
When you look at nutrition, if you go against like the meat and dairy industry, you're gonna have a problem. If you're like a senator or somebody who wants to work against them, it's like, you know what? We gotta open up our horizons and just like a big piece of meat and carbs around there.
Right.
And this is not working. The meat industry will attack that politician because it'll work against what they have a vested interest in and all their investors.
It has nothing to do with health or well-being of the people or anything.
So, there's so much behind.
That's what they act like. That's what they act like they're doing. That's what the FDA acts like. We want to make people healthy.
And then people settle with it, like, we can make, we have a roof over my head, or I have an iPod, or I have a couple of things, and the system is working fine. Like, nothing else is better than this. And I'm like, I don't think there's ever been any more poverty, globally speaking, than there's ever been. As far as, going back to...
I don't know about that.
As far as, growing your own foods, corporations now are patenting everything. So if you have somebody who wants to grow something in their own land, and it's not profitable, or let's just say I have a seed, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but they're patenting the seed. So let's say you have a seed and it pollinates the other person's land. You can go to their land and say, you know what, that's you're infringing on my patent, and you sue the farmer, and farmers are getting shut down. And corporations are growing these seeds, and they're limiting the diversity as far as what we're eating. So there's just so much that's going on as far as the incentives behind profit. Everything is just about control and hoarding everything. So water, as things keep getting polluted, water is going to become more valuable. In the future, we'll be paying $20 for a gallon of water. It sounds insane now, but really, who was paying for bottled water before? That's the right thing to do. It's like, well, do you really understand what it's really doing? And most people don't. People are like, oh yeah, I support this party, or the Republicans, or the Democrats. I'm like, well, what are they really doing behind the lines? All you know is what you see on television, and most of that is controlled by 6 corporations. and you have a few independent people. But when you have 6 corporations running the media, before journalism was like a really honorable thing, and now it's just like if you're a journalist who wants to, like, let's just say you want to go out on Fox News and want to talk about how Fox News is bad for you, is that going to happen? Probably not. You know, I mean, there's so many things that, you know, a corporation could say this senator's being anti-commerce, we're going to sue the state. I mean, that's how much power these companies are having. The value as far as the monetary value of some of these corporations is surpassing countries, like whole countries. Like, it's insane the power that these companies are getting, and with time, people are starting to realize, people are communicating more. You know, we have conversations about this. I mean, and that's what's really going to change things. If people really decide that, you know what, we can make this. If 1% can run the globe, why can't the other 99 change it? You know, and it's just, psychologically, we believe that, oh, well, most of us believe that, you know, we can't really do anything. We're made to believe that. We're made to believe that we have to follow somebody all the time. We're made to believe, you know, whether it be a messiah or a god or a leader or a politician or an expert, we're always told to follow.
You're very optimistic about it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you know, like,
you know, that's kind of a little bit of a problem in a place like New York. You know, we live in a little bit of a bubble because, how do I say it? Other places, they don't discuss things like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They sit and they watch Fox News, and some of this stuff. How could you say that a president like Obama, that's barely a moderate, is a socialist?
Right.
And that's what Fox News says, and these people, they believe it.
Right.
You know, and
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
There was a comedian a couple of years ago who made a joke. It was just like, you know, we had Bush, and it's just like, we're gonna get a new president. Like, maybe we need to take a break from the presidency thing. We need to just, you know, just hang around and see if we can figure things out for our own.
Oh, no, not have a leader.
It was. I mean, it was a joke, but at the same time, like, I feel that, you know, having these politicians, it doesn't empower people as a whole, because you're still following this one person. I mean, really, our politicians, for the most part, are they really like scientists? Do they study psychology? Do they study nutrition? You know, agriculture? Do they really? Not really. They always have to worry about their careers, looking good in their suits, shaking hands a certain way, not fucking up on a camera. And I don't know if that's really good for the people.
Well, that's true, and I think, and Obama's one of the smarter presidents we've had, I think. I mean, Bush was a complete idiot, and even him, like you say, he doesn't let a scientist. He wouldn't defer to scientists. He's not a
Because the thing
social engineer really either.
Right. The thing is, we're not about collaborating. That's what we really need to do. Because, like, you know, you might be great. I don't know. You might be a great swimmer or something, and that might be needed in case of emergencies. You know, I don't think that's less important than somebody who does agriculture, for example. He's good with the food, and that's important as well. It's like we need doctors. We need all types of people. And what we need to do is collaborate more often. Everybody's so used to being a specialist, and they want to sit on their high horse, like, I'm good at this. You know, and they're competitive. I'm like, well, what's that really doing? I mean, if you're let's just say you are an engineer and you're drowning, you're gonna be like, damn, I wish there was a good swimmer who can save me. Then is your engineering skills that important at that point? Not really. Now you need your swimmer. You need your athletes as well. So, and that's what we don't do. We don't really collaborate on things.
You almost need to specialize. Because an example is, okay, like in the 17th century, an educated person that spoke English, let's say, person that spoke English, he would have read everything that was written in English. Everything in the world written in English, he would have read it. Right? Now, oh my God, you couldn't read a tenth of what was written in the world on your little narrow particular specialty.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? See? So
the thing
you
is,
almost have to specialize.
As far as specializing, yeah, I mean, I agree that what I'm saying is that people should develop themselves. And what you're good at, what you should do is, the thing is, our system doesn't really cater to cooperation. Like, you know, it's like, oh, well, I'm an artist. Oh, yeah, well, I'm a bicyclist. And it's just like, well, what's that doing when you're so competitive? Like, oh, us art people, we understand things differently. We see the world differently. It's like, well, I'm an athlete and I can kick your ass, so who cares? And it's like, but that's not doing anything. It's about collaborating, and that's what we don't do. If you're an amazing doctor, that's great. If you're a great speaker, that's great too. Sometimes good doctors don't necessarily communicate with their patients, and they can learn from each other. So, and that's what needs to happen more often. Artists, technicians, science, like all these things. Collaboration is key, and the thing is, we're in our little apartments watching television.